Nintendo really just said, let's do a whole bunch of cool stuff today. And so they dropped an indie world full of surprises, but missing the bugs. Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. I'll drop the glasses, but I thought it was a very fun, just like confident Nintendo coming out and saying, hey, we may not have the biggest games, we may not have the most games of new indies, but we do have confidence and we do have some cool stuff to show you. So I figured we would run through it together with one of the coolest things I've seen in a while. I don't know why, I'm not the biggest Shantae fan, but this really struck me as like actually kind of miraculous. And let me know in the comments down below which of the games from today's indie world you're most excited to get, or if you think the show sucked and you don't want to get any of them. But Shantae GBA had a sequel apparently, a sequel that never actually came out. And so they got the original development team back together to make the GBA sequel that they never made. And it looks like, it looks like a GBA game, but it also feels like it has a lot of zest, charm, and features that maybe are upgraded from when the game would have originally released way back when. It's got animal transformations, it's got all sorts of platforming, it's got quirky combat, it's got layers. It really feels like the Donkey Kong game I've been waiting for on Nintendo Switch, albeit with GBA-style graphics. Nonetheless, I was hoping this was the stealth drop of the day, but we got like 5 other stealth drops. Shantae Risky Revolution is coming 2024, and I just think this is really cool. Like going back and bringing a team together. I'm not sure if Nintendo helped fund this or if WayForward just did it themselves, but WayForward and Nintendo have had a long history, and making like a GBA game sequel, very, very cool. And I know we have a lot of 2D platformers, but I feel like this is bringing something new, fun, and like special, where the team is very invested in making their dream game, but they got to make it 20 years later. Like imagine if the team making, say, I don't know, Mario Wonder got to go back and make a sequel in 20 years. It would be remarkable. If we move along, we have the next game being Core Keeper, which is a popular PC title. It's a cooperative smash 'em up tree puncher type game. Not really my thing, but I do appreciate that we're bringing it to Switch. You know, before this indie world, I thought like, what indie games do we not have on Switch? There's very few that we don't have because all the tentpole penthouse ones have kind of come out. I was hoping to see Katana Zero DLC. That still is somehow missing. This is the game that I wish would have stayed off the screen. It just freaks me out. It's called On Your Tail. It's like a detective exploration summer living sim game with My Little Ponies all grown up. I don't know. Something about this just freaks me out and gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't really like the characters, although I do like the cards and how that's sort of like the evidence in the game. All these indies love to mix in board game, card game mechanics now that subgenre is so successful. But we'll use this opportunity to talk about the big missing bug. Hollow Knight goes splat yet again, not appearing at an indie world for all of 2022 and all of 2023. This game is totally MIA. We saw that the Steam page updated back in September. I made a note of that on Good Morning Mario, but we got nothing since. There's just nothing really since they said, hey, it's going to take a longer time to make the game. Xbox tried to promise it within 12 months of June 2022. Never happened. I don't know when that game shows up, but I don't think it's an indie world reveal. We've talked about this before, that it probably has reached either direct status or Team Cherry is just going to do it themselves. I don't know. If I was Nintendo and Xbox, I might be a little bit frustrated. I know games take a long time to develop, but this seems to be taking an insane amount of time. And more power to them. They made a phenomenal Hollow Knight 1, so take all the time you need to make this the best it can possibly be. Miyamoto's quote about, a rushed game is broken forever, a delayed game has a chance to be good, all that, I get it. But I'm like done predicting Hollow Knight. I always hope for it. It never transpires, and I don't think it's an indie world announcement at this point. This game, though, has to get off the screen. I can't handle it. Howl is a tactics-based, turn-based game of a deaf prophet who doesn't transform into a werewolf because she can't hear their howl. This actually looks pretty cool. This is the first of today's stealth drops out today. It does seem to be very slow-paced, so if that's not your cup of tea, then it's not. But I love the art style. And planning ahead, it gives Into the Breach vibes, which I really do enjoy. And I think Into the Breach is a phenomenal game where you're more predictively moving around, maneuvering, and trying to save the day. This one seems like you're saving villagers from the evil wolves. Again, just a lot of really good art styles today, a lot of really unique looks and aesthetic. I didn't feel like really any of the games looked similar today, which is a huge boost because oftentimes Indie World is ridden with like all the games feel and look the same. Even our Metroidvania coming up, which might be the coolest game of the day, has a very unique look, feel, and aesthetic. This one is a puzzle-solving photography game. A star named EOS looks pretty cool, honestly. I loved Toem, which is a photography-based game. Pokemon Snap is pretty darn fun. I don't know how much the photos play into the puzzle solving or if the photos are just sort of like a side fun mechanic, but I will keep my eyes out on this one. It's coming in 2024. Backpack Hero is something I've been following since early access. Never dipped my toes in because I was waiting for the full version. It's out today on Steam and Switch. Definitely getting this one, definitely checking it out. It is a roguelite where the most important thing you do is manage your inventory. Basically Resident Evil 4 sounds really, really cool, and I love when they take quirky ideas and just unique mechanics and infuse them into genres that are popular, fun, and exciting. So I think this has a great look. I think the backpack mechanics are going to be really cool. What you put in your backpack determines what you can do on your runs. I think it's just going to be a really fun one. I'll probably come back with some thoughts on it if I get to play it today, because there's another huge game out today that's not an indie called Hogwarts. This is the one I was telling you about that's a Metroidvania, but looks wholly unique. At first, I thought this was going to be the Katana Zero DLC. I was like, yes, it's back, but Blade Chimera looking sick as all heck. Okay, you got a demon and a blade that allows you to not only fight, but restore time, so you can bring back, here, let's go back to the trailer a little bit. You can like bring back staircases and whatnot. It has a very unique look, a crazy complex UI, but what seems to be very organic, delicious gameplay. Like, it looks like it's very satisfying. Obviously, we won't know until we actually play it, but it gives me major Katana Zero meets Castlevania meets Metroid vibes with this nifty, like, extra mechanic. And we've seen 2D titles that bring in one killer mechanic really succeed above the rest. Look at Celeste, look at Katana Zero. They bring in like one really nifty mechanic and boom, just like that, you are succeeding above the rest. It doesn't take revolutionary, it doesn't take reinventing the wheel. It just takes one super killer solid mechanic. And perhaps this game has it as well. I don't even fully understand how this game works because it says that the narrative changes depending on the route you take. But basically, you're just trying to get to this lighthouse any way you possibly can. There's all sorts of different mechanics of travel, as well as storytelling and what looks to be some like quick-timey type events. I'm not 100% sure. It's set in, I think, Ireland or Scotland. Highland Song. This one's out, I think, December, which it does, like, again, like a beautiful art style. Totally unique. This looks like nothing else that's out today in the indie world. And even amongst the montage titles, like every game had just such an artistic vibe. And I know, like, that's the name of the game with indie, so maybe you think I'm just saying the obvious, but like, remember, there are obviously times where these games all look the same. Everything's a pixel art title. Everything's hand-drawn. Today was just very, very different. This one looks pretty fun. It's like Pokemon on drugs. It's called Moonstone Island. It's out in 2024. It's mixing card deck building battler with monster catching with island sim home management, kind of just like everything that people seem to like from cozy games on Switch. I'm guessing I won't love it, but I do think it has a very quirky, cute look, and I think it's nice that they are mixing in some of the card mechanics. It kind of maybe seems like it's going to be on the easier side, but that could still be cool. This right here, beautiful looking. I don't know what's happening, this boomerang that lit up the mushroom, but yeah, spring 2024. It's also interesting to note that all the titles are early 2024. I don't know, just saying. Switch 2 maybe. This one was beautiful. This one I thought was a sequel to Ghost Trick. That game released as a remade, remastered version on Switch. It's called Death Trick, but it's actually completely separate. Very unique, awesome art style set in this circus that comes to town, and then there's two characters, and each of them are trying to help piece together this mystery. What I love most is that it's a like restrictive detective game. So it's not just like, oh, explore around, solve the story, like eventually you will 100% get it. There are limited actions, and then the actions determine, you know, what evidence you pick up, when you contradict, what clues you're looking for, what kind of advice you try to get from other characters. If they pull this off, I think this could be super sick. It reminds me of Murder by Numbers, a unique blend of genres with a mystery that ended up being very cool despite like a quirky style and sort of a small-time production. I think this could be that game if they're able to hit it. I don't know. The art style is brilliant. Sometimes I wonder that a game like Death Trick Double Blind might be all about the look and not about the gameplay. But again, this action point thing really does appeal to me, and I'm interested to see how that plays, how difficult it is. we're waiting for games like Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright to hit their Switch debut in like a new version, right, for Ace Attorney. Professor Layton still TBD from level 5. This could be a nice sort of hybrid fill-in, and I'm excited to see what it's like when it releases in 2024. A lot of 2024, but let's bring in some 2023. December 7th, we get the Archaeologist edition of Outer Wilds. This game was announced last year. I thought it came out. Honestly thought it came out. It did not. It's releasing December 7th again. And so let's just get freaky with it. Let's get cool. Let's drop this Howl game. Let's bring in all these unique art styles. Let's take some risks with a GBA sequel coming back and bring in the original development team. Let's do Outer Wilds. And honestly, if this is real gameplay footage, it looks pretty good. December 7th, we get the eShop version 2024, the physical edition, if you want to hold out for a cartridge. I've never beaten Outer Wilds. It's like an indie game missing on my checklist, so I definitely need to play this one. I was hoping this was today's stealth drop because Pioro tweeted about it. Pioro is never wrong. He did not say stealth drop. He just said we'll be roasting marshmallows in the galaxy, and it turns out that we are, but in a few weeks, December 7th. Another good game for December alongside the Pokemon DLC, since we don't have a major tentpole Nintendo Switch release. It comes with the DLC. It's out in a few weeks, and then if you want to wait for a physical edition, you can do that, get a cartridge sometime next year. After this, they did a montage. Planet of Lana, I played the demo on Steam. Pretty fun game. Reminds me of like an Xbox Live arcade title. It got decent reviews on Switch. I think people thought it was slow-paced and maybe not bringing anything new to the conversation. But I still might grab it on Switch because I think it has a lovely look. This game, Enjoy the Diner, I don't even know what you do. This is another stealth drop out today. It looks like it's a bit of a mystery, some puzzle solving. But again, look at this aesthetic. This is like hand-penciled Game Boy game, which I just really appreciate. So unique in its look and feel. It's some sort of, narrative adventure. Heavenly Bodies, absolute opposite. February 2024. This one's about solving puzzles together. If gravity and bodies just didn't work how you know them to work. I really appreciate that. Gecko Gods, we've seen before. Looks like a sick game. It is coming to Switch next spring. Live your best lizard life. As a Arizona resident now, I see a lot of lizards. I want to know what they're up to. Apparently puzzle solving, quick climbing, and a lot of very watercolory looks. Passport out to the Lost Artist. Another stealth drop today. It's like a drawing game set in France. All right, not really for me. Urban Myth Dissolution Center. Again, we're getting crazy with the art style. This one, like a GB, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance hybrid game, more clues, more mystery. It seems like that's really factoring in. And then one of the most mysterious games, Braid, with a crazy conclusion that was a champion of Xbox Live Arcade back in the day. This is the anniversary edition that has been delayed multiple times, finally dropping on Switch April 30th, 2024, and I will be getting it. At this point, we were waiting for one more thing, one more drop, one more announcement. Hollow Knight, please. They didn't have it. But they did have, I think, a pretty good show. Like, is there anything monumental? No. But I feel like at this point, we've gotten all the big monumental indie games. Outer Wilds would be the last one, but that's, already announced. Is there anything major on other platforms that we don't have yet? I don't know. We're waiting on Hollow Knight, but that's a brand new title that has... at this point, if it ballooned to $60 or $50, I wouldn't be too surprised. But it's not here today. The highlights for me today are this game right here. Blade Chimera looks really, really good. Like, I know Metroidvanias are overdone, but this one does look to maybe have a secret sauce that can help it stand above the rest. Also, that is a toga-like turtle and giving me major Secret of the Ooze TMNT vibes. I also really, really like the look of this game, Death Trick. I don't know how it's going to play. It's a major wait and see for me. But I think they're onto something interesting, and the circus theme is really freaking darn cool. Outer Wilds is one I'm absolutely picking up. Backpack Hero is one I'm absolutely picking up. Howl, I think, could be interesting. I don't know if Howl is just wooing me with its beautiful art and painterly style, or if it really can bring in a nice strategy into the Breach-style game and deliver something super cool with a unique protagonist, an interesting idea, and what seems to be just a very well thought out strategy game. I hope that one pans out. Earlier on in the video, this game freaks me the heck out. No thank you. Core Keeper, probably not my cup of tea. Shantae, though, is the winner of the day for me. This is what I'm most excited about because I think, again, it's not just, they released Star Fox 2 like they did on the SNES Classic Edition. This is they're going back and they made this game, but with all the foresight, forethought, advanced techniques, new skills, experience, history, nostalgia, ideas that they've built for the last 2 decades and in other Shantae games, and now able to make the GBA sequel that they've dreamed of. I think that's just a beautiful, brilliant story. It's even got like a versus multiplayer that reminds me a lot of Towerfall, but I think even more, I think it's going to make a sick game, and I think it could easily be the best Shantae game because it is that hybrid nature of old school meets like all this new zhuzh, all this new pizzazz. Risky Revolution is one of my most anticipated titles of 2024. I'm super pumped for it. I think that's so beautiful. Let me know which of these games you're most excited for in the comments down below, or if none of them. I know we all wanted Hollow Knight. It ain't happening in Indie World. I'm just glad we got a show because they skipped the summer show. Haven't had one of these in a while, and I thought, despite having no real major like, ooh, you know, Inscription's finally on Switch, or ooh, or In the Blind Forest is on Switch, or ooh, you know, like none of those big games that we've been waiting for. Slay the Spire is on Switch. Like, they still managed to deliver a pretty solid show and a very good sense of identity and variety across the titles, which is super important in the indie space because a lot of times games just blend together, and you can't argue that that happened today. So, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Until next time, love y'all lots. SwitchForce out.